Now, this is incredibly important as you do this. As you do the work, you want to make sure that you have ways to identify issues that are coming up. And you also want to be able to understand how people are feeling while you're actually doing this work. So you want to make somebody visible who people in your operating room can approach with any concerns or questions or problems that they have, so that they have somebody to talk to. And you don't want to keep it nebulous. You want to make sure that that person is clearly identified so people have somebody to go to if they have a question. If you're using a paper checklist, and I would assume then that you're going to use a new checklist for every single case, it's great to be able to have a space to write on the checklist about questions or concerns that come up in the case about the implementation process. And that then gets collected by the implementation team and looked at periodically to make sure that any problems that are being surfaced get dealt with as they occur, rather than letting them sit there and fester and become bigger problems. A lot of places have felt that it was very useful to set up a short survey, either a paper-based one or one that they give a link to an in-house survey monkey or some other kind of survey tool to ask people to complete through the entire implementation process, again, to take their temperature about how they feel about what they're doing and problems that they've seen. And if you do that, it's also great to have a free text field where people can give you anonymous comments about how's it going. You can learn a tremendous amount about problems that are arising that you might not hear about in any other way. Collecting this kind of feedback while you do the implementation is absolutely critical, because the last thing you want is for a bunch of problems to occur and you think everything is going absolutely fine and it's not going absolutely fine. It's during this implementation process you want to have your ear to the ground to hear even subtle evidence that things aren't quite right, or there are people that are really unhappy, or there are other problems that the checklist is still not right for the operative flow. And having people talk about it without input into the process to fix it just won't work. Those problems will end up boiling over if you don't take care of them while you're actually doing the implementation. Now, one of the things, and I know April Howell at McLeod could tell us a lot about accommodating feedback, because it's something that they've concentrated on a lot at McLeod, and I think it's something that's really, really important. If you're going to allow people to raise problems that aren't around the checklist, but that they notice with the operating room, equipment that doesn't work right, problems that seem to happen every single day, problems that are built into your system that get identified in part because of the checklist work that you're using. If you decide that you're going to collect those, and I would encourage you to also collect that kind of feedback, it does absolutely no good if you're not also dedicated to beginning to repair some of those problems. So you need a system to collect that kind of feedback. And if you look at the checklist, in the last column of the checklist, when it comes time for the sign out before the patient leaves the room, that's a time when those kind of issues a lot of time get raised. Having some kind of a system where issues that get raised can then get the attention of the people who can fix them is incredibly important. If you create a system to report and there's no system to fix, or you don't have the resources to fix, and you don't tell people that you don't have the resources to fix, pretty soon they'll stop telling you anything about what's not right in your operating rooms, and that's not where you want to be. But if you're going to do this, it's absolutely critical that you have both parts, a way to collect and then a way to repair. Some hospitals, like McLeod, actually use their checklist as a way of reporting these kind of things because they have already done the majority of the implementation work that needs to be done there, so they're using it to collect these kind of things that go wrong and need to be fixed so they can pay attention to it. I know of other hospitals where there's a sticky pad that's kept in the operating room that the circulator can write these kind of things down, and then there's a board set up by the OR front desk where they can go and put the sticky note so that the people who are running the OR desk can then make sure that the problem gets attended to. Both of those are systems, and the only reason they'll work is because somebody will go on to try and fix